The alien invasion begins. The skies over New York City darkened as the massive alien ships descended through the atmosphere. Their sleek obsidian hulls reflected the panicked city below, distorting the image of a world about to change forever. Captain Sarah Chen of the U.S. Air Force gripped the controls of her F-35 fighter jet, her heart pounding as she led her squadron towards the unknown threat. "All wings, report in," Sarah commanded, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her veins. One by one, her pilots acknowledged their readiness. They were humanity's first line of defense against an enemy they knew nothing about. As they approached the alien fleet, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that their advanced fighters might as well be paper airplanes against the technological marvels before them. The alien ships hung motionless in the air, seeming to observe the approaching human fighters with cold indifference. Sarah's radar suddenly lit up with multiple incoming projectiles. "Evasive maneuvers," she yelled, banking her jet hard to the right. The sky erupted in a dazzling display of energy weapons. Beams of searing light cut through the air, vaporizing two of Sarah's pilots instantly. The remaining fighters scattered, desperately trying to avoid the relentless barrage. "Command, this is Eagle One," Sarah reported, her voice tight with tension. "We're outgunned and outmaneuvered, requesting immediate backup and evacuation of civilian centers." As she spoke, one of the alien ships rotated slowly, revealing a massive cannon on its underside. A ball of pulsing energy began to form at its tip. "All units, fall back," Sarah ordered, but it was too late. The alien weapon discharged, sending a wave of destructive force rippling through the air. Sarah watched in horror as the blast tore through Manhattan, reducing skyscrapers to rubble in seconds. The screams of her fellow pilots filled her comm channel as they were caught in the shockwave. Miraculously, Sarah's jet survived, though damaged. As she struggled to maintain control, she caught sight of similar scenes playing out across the globe on her tactical display. London, Tokyo, Moscow, all under attack. Humanity's greatest cities were falling one by one. On the ground, Dr. Elias Reeves sprinted through the halls of a secret government facility buried deep beneath the New Mexico desert. Klaxons blared as personnel rushed to their stations, the compound a hive of frantic activity. "Talk to me, people," Elias shouted as he burst into the control room. "What are we dealing with?" A junior analyst, her face pale with shock, turned to him. "Sir, we're detecting over 300 alien craft in Earth's atmosphere. Our military responses have been ineffective." Elias ran a hand through his graying hair, his mind racing. "Any communication attempts?" "Negative, sir," another technician reported. "They're not responding to any of our transmissions." As Elias absorbed the dire news, a familiar face appeared on the main screen. General Marcus Harding, his old friend and now the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. "Eli, tell me you've got something," Marcus said, his usually composed demeanor showing cracks of worry. Elias took a deep breath. "Marcus, it's bad. Their tech is light years beyond ours. Conventional weapons are useless." The general's face hardened. "Then we go unconventional. What about Project Lazarus?" A hush fell over the control room. Project Lazarus was the facility's most closely guarded secret, an artifact of clearly alien origin discovered buried in the Antarctic ice a decade ago. Despite years of study, its purpose and function remained a mystery. "It's not ready," Elias protested. "We still don't fully understand." "We're out of options, Eli," Marcus interrupted. "Whatever that thing is, it's our only shot. I'm authorizing full deployment. Get it working." As the transmission cut out, Elias turned to his team. "You heard the man. Let's move." Meanwhile, in the skies above Washington, D.C., Sarah Chen's damaged fighter limped towards Andrews Air Force Base. The capital was in chaos, smoke rising from multiple impact sites. As she approached the runway, she saw soldiers scrambling to set up anti-aircraft defenses. Just as her wheels touched down, a shadow fell over the base. Sarah looked up to see an alien ship, larger than the others, positioning itself directly overhead. Fear gripped her as she realized its intent. "Everybody out," she screamed into her radio. "They're going to." Her warning was cut short as a beam of intense energy shot from the ship, enveloping the entire base in blinding light. When it faded, nothing remained but a smoldering crater. Sarah sat in her cockpit, stunned into silence. In a matter of hours, the world she knew had been turned upside down. Humanity's most advanced weapons were useless against this overwhelming force. As the reality of their situation sank in, a single thought echoed in her mind. How could they possibly hope to survive? Thousands of miles away, in the New Mexico facility, Elias Reeves stood before the artifact that might be humanity's last hope. The metallic object, roughly the size of a car, pulsed with a faint otherworldly light. As his team hurried to connect it to their most powerful energy sources, Elias placed his hand on its cool surface. "Come on," he whispered. "Work for us. Please." As if in response, the artifact's glow intensified. Elias stepped back, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and anticipation. Whatever was about to happen would determine the fate of humanity. The alien invasion had begun, and Earth's defenders were scrambling to mount a response. But with their technology proving ineffective, and their cities falling, time was running out. The key to humanity's survival lay hidden within an ancient alien relic, waiting to be unlocked. As the world burned around them, a handful of brave individuals prepared to take a desperate gamble, one that would either save their species or doom it to extinction. Humanity's secret weapon unveiled. The underground facility shook with the distant impacts of alien weaponry. Dr. Elias Reeves wiped sweat from his brow as he and his team worked feverishly to unlock the secrets of the artifact. The alien relic, now connected to a massive array of power generators, hummed with an otherworldly energy that made the air feel thick and charged. "Power levels are holding steady at 85%, called out Dr. Samantha Wong, Elias's right-hand scientist. Her fingers flew across a holographic interface, adjusting parameters with practiced precision. "But we're still not seeing any reaction from the artifact." Elias frowned, his mind racing. They had tried every conventional method of activation, but the alien technology remained stubbornly inert. Time was running out. Reports from the surface painted a grim picture of humanity's rapidly failing defenses. "We're missing something," Elias muttered, pacing around the artifact. Its smooth, metallic surface reflected the frantic activity of the lab. "It's not just about power. There has to be a key, a specific sequence." As if in response to his words, the artifact pulsed, sending a wave of energy through the room that made everyone's hair stand on end. Elias froze, his eyes widening with sudden realization. "It's responding to thought patterns," he exclaimed. "Quick, everyone clear your minds. Focus only on activating the device, on the need to defend Earth." The scientists exchanged skeptical glances but complied. As they concentrated, the artifact's glow intensified. Arcs of energy began to dance across its surface, growing more frequent and intense with each passing second. Suddenly, a beam of light shot from the artifact, coalescing into a holographic display that filled the center of the room. Complex alien symbols and diagrams floated in the air, shifting and rearranging themselves at dizzying speeds. "It's a database," Samantha gasped, her eyes darting across the display. "And instructions. My God, Elias, I think it's showing us how to build something." Before Elias could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. General Marcus Harding's voice crackled over the intercom, tight with urgency. "Eli, we're out of time. The aliens have breached our outer defenses. Whatever you're going to do with that thing, do it now." Elias turned to his team, determination etched on his face. "Download everything. We'll decipher it as we go. Samantha, you're with me. The rest of you, start fabrication based on these schematics immediately." As the scientists sprang into action, Elias and Samantha rushed to a secure communication room. They found themselves face to face with a haggard-looking General Harding on the main screen. "Talk to me, Eli," Marcus demanded. "What have you got?" Elias took a deep breath. "It's big, Marcus. The artifact is some kind of library. It contains designs for advanced weapons, shield technology, even faster than light travel. But it's all incredibly complex. It could take years to fully understand." "We don't have years," Marcus interrupted. "We barely have hours. What can you give me now?" Samantha stepped forward. "Sir, we've identified what appears to be a defense system, something that could neutralize the aliens' energy weapons, but we'd need time to manufacture and deploy it." Marcus nodded grimly. "I'll buy you that time. We're consolidating our remaining forces for a counterattack. It won't last long, but it should give you the window you need." He paused, his expression softening slightly. "This is our last shot, Eli. Make it count." As the transmission ended, Elias turned to Samantha. "Let's get to work." Hours passed in a blur of frantic activity. The facility's advanced manufacturing systems worked at full capacity, guided by the alien schematics. Outside, the sounds of battle grew ever closer as Earth's defenders fought desperately to hold the line. Finally, as the facility shook with a particularly violent impact, Elias held up a device no larger than a smartphone. Its sleek design belied the incredible technology within. "This is it," he announced to the room. "If it works as the schematics suggest, it should create a field that disrupts the aliens' energy weapons." Samantha looked at him, hope and fear warring in her eyes. "How do we deploy it?" Elias grimaced. "That's the hard part. It needs to be taken into the heart of the battle and activated manually. The range is limited, but if we can knock out even one of their ships—" "I'll do it," came a voice from the doorway. Captain Sarah Chen stood there, her flight suit scorched and torn, but her stance as determined as ever. "I got a working jet. I can get that device where it needs to go." Elias nodded, relief and guilt washing over him. "Captain Chen, you should know. This is a one-way trip. The energy release when this activates, it's likely to be catastrophic at close range." Sarah's jaw tightened, but she didn't hesitate. "Understood, sir. It's been an honor." As Sarah prepared for her mission, Elias contacted General Harding one last time. "Marcus, we're ready, but we need a distraction, something to draw the aliens' attention while our pilot delivers the package." Marcus's face was grim but resolved. "Consider it done. Good luck, old friend. The fate of humanity rests in your hands now." Hours later, Sarah Chen soared through skies thick with smoke and debris, the precious device secured in her cockpit. Below her, the remnants of Earth's military forces engaged the alien fleet in a desperate, suicidal attack. As she approached the largest alien ship, the one that had destroyed Andrews Air Force Base, Sarah keyed her radio one last time. "This is Captain Sarah Chen. Package is in position. Activating. Now." She flipped the switch on the device, and for a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, a wave of invisible energy burst forth, expanding rapidly in all directions. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Alien energy weapons sputtered and died. Their ships, suddenly vulnerable, began to fall from the sky. Sarah had just enough time to see the massive alien vessel before her start to plummet before her own jet was engulfed in the backlash of energy. On the ground, human forces watched in awe as the seemingly invincible alien fleet was suddenly brought low. Cheers erupted across battlefield comms as the tide of battle shifted in an instant. Back in the underground facility, Elias and his team monitored the unfolding events with a mixture of elation and solemn respect for the sacrifices made. "It worked," Samantha breathed, tears in her eyes. "We did it." Elias nodded, his expression a complex mix of emotions. "We've won the battle, but the war is far from over." He gestured to the still active holographic display from the artifact. "This is just the beginning. We have a lot of work ahead of us." As reports of victory poured in from around the globe, humanity allowed itself a moment of celebration. They had stood on the brink of extinction, and against all odds pushed back. The alien artifact had given them a fighting chance, but it was human courage and sacrifice that had turned the tide. The world had changed forever, and the challenges ahead were immense. But for the first time since the invasion began, there was hope. Humanity had proven itself capable of facing even the most overwhelming odds. Whatever the future held, they would face it together, stronger and more united than ever before. Counterattack and alien retaliation. The days following humanity's first major victory were a whirlwind of activity. As the smoke cleared from battlefields around the world, a new sense of purpose energized the global population. The knowledge that the alien invaders were not invincible sparked a flame of hope that spread like wildfire. Dr. Elias Reeves found himself at the center of a storm of scientific and military activity. The underground facility in New Mexico had become the de facto headquarters for Earth's defense strategy. Scientists and engineers from around the world were flown in under heavy security, all focused on unlocking more secrets from the alien artifact. "We've made significant progress in understanding their shield technology," Dr. Samantha Wong reported during one of their daily briefings. Her holographic image flickered slightly, a reminder of the damage done to global communication networks. "If we can reverse engineer it, we could protect our cities from further attacks." General Marcus Harding nodded approvingly. "Excellent work, Doctor. What's our timeline for implementation?" Elias stepped forward, his face etched with lines of exhaustion and determination. "We're looking at weeks, not months, Marcus. But there's something else you need to know." He paused, gathering his thoughts. "The artifact. It's not just a database. It's alive, in a sense, and I think it's been holding back on us." A hush fell over the room. Elias continued, "Every time we make a breakthrough, new information becomes available. It's as if it's testing us, making sure we're ready for each level of technology." Marcus frowned. "Are you saying we can't trust it?" "No, not exactly," Elias replied. "I believe it's protecting us. Some of this technology, in the wrong hands, could be catastrophic. We need to proceed carefully." As the implications of this revelation sank in, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. A young lieutenant burst into the room, his face pale. "Sirs, we're detecting massive energy signatures in orbit. The aliens, they're back, and they've brought reinforcements." The mood in the room shifted instantly from cautious optimism to grim determination. Marcus turned to the assembled leaders. "You heard him. We knew this wasn't over. Let's show these bastards what humanity can do when we're prepared." Around the world, humanity's newfound defenses sprang into action. Cities shimmered as hastily constructed shield generators came online. Military bases scrambled fighters equipped with reverse-engineered alien tech. In orbit, the remnants of Earth's satellite network realigned to provide early warning and tactical data. In the skies over Berlin, Wing Commander Eva Schmidt led a squadron of upgraded fighters to meet the alien threat. The sleek jets, now sporting energy weapons salvaged from downed alien craft, streaked through the clouds. "Remember your training," Eva's voice crackled over the comm. "Hit and fade. Don't give them a chance to adapt." As they burst through the cloud cover, Eva's breath caught in her throat. The alien fleet was massive, far larger than the initial invasion force. Hundreds of ships hung in the sky, their dark hulls reflecting the fires burning in the city below. "Engage," Eva shouted, and her squadron sprang into action. The battle that followed was unlike anything in human history. Earth fighters darted between lumbering alien cruisers, their new weapons punching through shields and armor with surprising effectiveness. For a moment, it seemed like humanity might repeat its earlier victory. But the aliens had not been idle. As Eva lined up a shot on a particularly large ship, her targeting system suddenly went dark. She began, before noticing that all of her squadron's tech was failing simultaneously. The alien ship before her began to glow, and Ava realized with horror that they had flown into a trap. A massive electromagnetic pulse ripped through the sky, frying every piece of Earth technology in its radius. Fighters fell from the sky like stones, their pilots helpless. As Ava struggled with her suddenly dead controls, she caught sight of something that made her blood run cold. The alien ships were changing, their hulls seeming to flow and reshape. What had once been smooth, featureless surfaces now bristled with new weapons and defenses. "They're adapting," she whispered, realization dawning. "They've analyzed our tech and countered it." Similar scenes played out across the globe. Humanity's brief advantage evaporated as the aliens revealed capabilities they had been holding in reserve. Shield generators protecting cities sputtered and died under concentrated fire. Military bases found their communications jammed, leaving forces isolated and vulnerable. In the underground facility, Elias and his team worked frantically to understand what was happening. The artifact pulsed with new energy, flooding their systems with fresh data. "It's like it's responding to the threat," Samantha marveled, her fingers flying over holographic displays, "giving us what we need to fight back." Elias nodded grimly. "But can we decipher it fast enough? And more importantly, can we trust it?" As if in answer, the facility shook violently. Dust rained from the ceiling as the sound of distant explosions reached them. "They found us," Marcus growled, striding into the room. "We need to evacuate. Now." Elias looked at the artifact, its glow pulsing in time with the explosions. "We can't leave it behind. Whatever happens, the aliens can't get their hands on this." Marcus nodded, understanding the stakes. "I'll call in everything we've got left. We're getting you and that thing out of here if it's the last thing we do." As the evacuation began, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something crucial. The artifact's behavior, the aliens' sudden adaptation, it all felt connected, part of a larger pattern he couldn't quite grasp. Outside, the sky burned as humanity fought desperately against an enemy that seemed to grow stronger with each passing moment. The brief hope kindled by their earlier victory was fading, replaced by the grim realization that this war was far from over. In the chaos of the evacuation, with alarms blaring and personnel rushing to save what they could, Elias placed his hand on the artifact one last time. Its surface was warm, almost alive under his touch. "What are you?" he whispered. "And what aren't you telling us?" The artifact pulsed once, brightly, as if in response. And in that moment, Elias knew that the key to humanity's survival, and perhaps the true nature of their enemy, lay hidden within its alien depths. They just had to live long enough to unlock its final secrets. As the facility crumbled around them, humanity prepared for a fight that would determine not just the fate of their world, but perhaps the future of the galaxy itself. The aliens had revealed their true strength, and Earth's defenders were on the back foot once more. But if there's one thing humans excel at, it's defying the odds when all hope seems lost. The stage was set for a confrontation that would reshape the cosmos. And at the center of it all, a mysterious artifact held the key to victory, or annihilation. The final stand. The convoy of armored vehicles sped through the New Mexico desert, kicking up clouds of dust in their wake. Inside the lead truck, Dr. Elias Reeves cradled the alien artifact, its pulsing glow casting eerie shadows across his weathered face. Beside him, Dr. Samantha Wong worked furiously on a makeshift computer setup, trying to decipher the latest flood of data from the device. "Anything?" Elias asked, his voice hoarse from the constant tension. Samantha shook her head, frustration evident in her eyes. "It's like trying to drink from a fire hose. The information is there, but it's coming too fast, too jumbled." The voice crackled over the radio. "This is General Harding. We got incoming bogeys. ETA 3 minutes." Elias exchanged a grim look with Samantha. They were running out of time. Suddenly, the artifact flared brightly, causing both scientists to shield their eyes. When the light faded, a holographic display filled the truck's interior, showing a three-dimensional map of Earth and the surrounding space. My God, Samantha breathed. It's showing us their fleet movements, their attack patterns. Elias leaned in, his eyes widening as he absorbed the information. No, it's more than that. Look, he pointed to a pulsing point far beyond Earth's orbit. That's their command ship. The artifact is giving us a way to end this. As Elias relayed the information to General Harding, the convoy came under attack. Energy beams lanced down from the sky, turning the desert sand to glass. The drivers swerved and weaved, their training and determination all that stood between humanity's last hope and annihilation. We need to get this information to what's left of our Space Force, Elias shouted over the din of battle. If we can take out their command ship, we might have a chance. Miles above, in the remains of the International Space Station, now hastily converted into a military command center, Colonel Yuki Tanaka received the transmission. Her face, illuminated by the glow of emergency lighting, set in grim determination. "This is our shot," she announced to her ragtag crew of astronauts and soldiers. "Prep the Hail Mary for launch." The Hail Mary was humanity's secret weapon, a retrofitted space shuttle armed with the most powerful version of the alien-derived weaponry they could cobble together. It was a suicide mission, but at this point, it was the only card left to play. As the space station crew prepared for their desperate gambit, the battle on Earth reached a fever pitch. Major cities around the globe lay in ruins, their defenses overwhelmed by the aliens' adaptive technology. But pockets of resistance fought on, embodying the indomitable human spirit. In the skyscrapers of a burning New York, a group of civilians turned guerrillas led by former Wall Street trader Jack Morrison used jury-rigged energy weapons to hold off alien ground forces. "Keep fighting," Jack yelled, his designer suit long since replaced by makeshift armor. "Every second we hold them here is another second for the eggheads to figure this out." In the flooded streets of Mumbai, Captain Priya Patel guided a flotilla of fishing boats and pleasure craft. Now armed with salvaged alien tech, they darted between the legs of towering alien walkers, bringing them down with well-placed shots to vulnerable joints. "For Earth," Priya cried, her voice echoed by thousands of voices in dozens of languages across the globe. Back in the New Mexico desert, the convoy finally reached its destination, a hidden underground hangar housing Earth's last intact satellite launch facility. As teams rushed to upload the artifact's data to the satellite, Elias made a startling realization. "The artifact," he gasped, turning to Samantha. "It's not just giving us information. It's been learning from us too. Our determination, our creativity." Samantha's eyes widened with understanding. "It's been testing us all along, to see if we're worthy." Before they could fully process this revelation, the hangar shook violently. General Harding's voice boomed over the PA system. "They found us. We need to launch now." With seconds to spare, the satellite rocketed into the sky, carrying with it humanity's last hope. As it cleared the atmosphere, it unleashed a burst of data. The combined knowledge of the artifact and human ingenuity, aimed at every functioning human craft and installation in near-Earth orbit. Aboard the Hail Mary, Colonel Tanaka received the upload. Her eyes gleamed as she absorbed the new tactical information and technological insights. "This is it, people," she announced to her crew. "Let's show these aliens what happens when you back humanity into a corner." The Hail Mary's engines flared to life, propelling the craft towards the alien command ship at impossible speeds. As they approached, Tanaka realized with a mix of awe and fear that the massive vessel was unlike anything they'd encountered before. It pulsed with an otherworldly energy, as if it were alive. On Earth, Elias and Samantha watched the Hail Mary's approach via satellite feed, the artifact thrumming with energy in their hands. "Come on," Elias whispered, his knuckles white, as he gripped the alien device. "Show us what you can really do." As if in response, the artifact suddenly projected a massive holographic display, visible to every human on the planet and in orbit. It showed the Hail Mary's approach, but also revealed something more: the true nature of their enemy. The alien command ship wasn't just a vessel. It was a vast, living computer, the culmination of an ancient species' evolution from biological to digital existence. And now, faced with humanity's desperate creative resistance, it was experiencing something it hadn't felt in eons: doubt. Colonel Tanaka, armed with this new understanding, realized that their weapons alone wouldn't be enough. As the Hail Mary dodged incoming fire, she opened a communication channel. "This is Colonel Yuki Tanaka of Earth," she broadcast, her voice carried by the artifact's power to every corner of the alien network. "We know what you are. We've passed your test, and we're offering you a choice: coexistence or mutual destruction." For a moment, the universe seemed to hold its breath. Then, impossibly, the alien attacks ceased. The command ship's energy signature changed, no longer hostile but curious. Back on Earth, the artifact in Elias's hands grew warm, then disintegrated into a shower of light. As the particles settled, they coalesced into a new form, a bridge between human and alien consciousness. Through this connection, humanity learned the truth. The aliens were not conquerors, but caretakers, ancient beings tasked with testing young species, pushing them to evolve and overcome impossible odds. And humanity, with its boundless creativity and determination, had just passed the greatest test of all. As the sun rose on a battered but unbroken Earth, humanity found itself standing on the threshold of a new era. The war was over, but the real adventure, joining a vast, ancient galactic community, was just beginning. Elias, Samantha, and countless others who had fought so hard for this moment shared a look of wonder and determination. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. As humans, as Earthlings, and now as citizens of a much larger cosmos. The final stand had become a new beginning. And the stars, once so distant and cold, now beckoned with the promise of endless possibilities. Aftermath and humanity's leap forward. The years following Earth's induction into the galactic community were a whirlwind of change and progress. Cities once reduced to rubble now gleamed with a fusion of human ingenuity and alien technology. The scars of war slowly faded, replaced by monuments to those who had fallen and to the unity that had saved humanity. Dr. Elias Reeves stood at the window of his office in the newly established Terran Diplomatic Court headquarters, gazing out at the bustling streets of New Geneva. Hovercars zipped between buildings that seemed to defy gravity, while holographic billboards advertised the latest in human-alien cooperation. A gentle chime announced the arrival of his longtime colleague and friend, Dr. Samantha Wong. "Ready for the big meeting?" she asked, a tablet in her hand displaying the day's agenda. Elias nodded, straightening his uniform. "As ready as I'll ever be. I still can't believe we're about to present Earth's first interstellar exploration initiative." As they made their way to the conference room, they passed by a memorial wall. Faces of those who had given everything in humanity's darkest hours stared back at them. Captain Sarah Chen, Jack Morrison, Captain Priya Patel, and countless others. Their sacrifices had paved the way for this new era. The conference room was a marvel of diplomatic architecture, designed to accommodate various alien physiologies alongside humans. Representatives from a dozen species were already seated, their translators humming softly. General Marcus Harding, now Earth's primary military liaison to the Galactic Council, nodded as Elias and Samantha took their seats. "Let's begin," he said, his voice carrying the weight of command even after all these years. Elias stood, activating a holographic display that filled the center of the room. "Distinguished representatives," he began, 10 years ago, humanity faced extinction. Today, we stand before you as partners in the greatest endeavor our species has ever undertaken." The display showed a sleek spacecraft, unlike anything Earth had produced before. "I present to you the ESS Horizon, Earth's first true interstellar vessel. Powered by a fusion of human determination and the advanced technology we've been graciously taught, the Horizon represents not just our technological progress, but our commitment to peaceful exploration and cooperation. As Elias detailed the ship's capabilities and mission parameters, he couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought them here. The terror of those first days of invasion, the desperation of their last stand, and the wonder of first contact with a benevolent cosmic civilization. It all seemed like a lifetime ago. The alien representatives listened intently, their reactions ranging from excited chirps to thoughtful hums. When Elias finished, the room erupted in a cacophony of approving sounds. The Arbiter, a crystalline being that served as the voice of the Galactic Council, spoke last. Its melodious tones filled the room. Earth has proven itself not just worthy of survival, but of leading the next wave of galactic exploration. We approve this initiative and look forward to the discoveries the ESS Horizon will bring to us all. As the meeting adjourned, Elias found himself approached by a young cadet, her eyes shining with excitement. "Dr. Reeves," she said, "I've been selected as part of the Horizon's crew. I wanted to thank you. Your work, your sacrifices, they're the reason we have this opportunity." Elias smiled, placing a hand on her shoulder. "The thanks go to all of humanity," he added. "We faced our greatest challenge and emerged stronger, wiser, and more united than ever before. Now it's your generation's turn to carry that spirit to the stars." Later that evening, Elias, Samantha, and Marcus stood on the observation deck of the orbital shipyard where the ESS Horizon was undergoing its final preparations. The Earth hung below them, a blue marble swirled with white, while the vastness of space stretched out above. "Do you ever wonder," Samantha mused, "what would have happened if we'd failed that test? If we hadn't shown the creativity and determination they were looking for?" Marcus shook his head. "Best not to dwell on might-have-beens. We passed. We survived. And now, we thrive." Elias nodded, his gaze fixed on the gleaming hull of the Horizon. "The universe tested us, pushed us to our limits, and in doing so, it revealed the best of what humanity can be: united, innovative, compassionate, and endlessly curious." As they watched, the Horizon's engines began to glow, running through pre-launch checks. Soon, it would carry the best and brightest of Earth's new generation out into the cosmos, not as conquerors or the conquered, but as explorers and diplomats. "You know," Elias said softly, "during the darkest days of the war, I never could have imagined this. That our greatest trial would lead to our greatest triumph." Samantha smiled, linking her arm with his. "That's humanity for you, always defying expectations." As the sun rose over Earth's horizon, bathing the shipyard in golden light, the three of them stood in comfortable silence. They had guided humanity through its most perilous chapter and into a future bright with promise. Whatever challenges lay ahead in the vast, unknown reaches of space, Earth would face them as it always had, with courage, creativity, and an unbreakable spirit. The ESS Horizon's engines flared to life, preparing for its maiden voyage. And as it did, it carried with it not just the hopes and dreams of humanity, but the indomitable will that had seen them through their darkest hour. The stars awaited, and humanity was ready to take its place among them.